What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today you guys are getting the first look at Yonex's newest badminton shoe, the Subaxia GTs. These are the badminton shoes developed from the Graphite Throttle concept shoe that I'm sure you guys have been seeing. I reviewed those concept shoes here on the channel, so I'll leave the link below if you guys want to check that out. But I'm super excited to share this review with you guys because I've been playtesting these for about 2 months now. We all know that the Graphite Throttle concept shoe wasn't really meant for high-level competitive badminton, and that it was more to kind of announce the arrival of the Graphite Throttle technology. And it's also been some time since Yonex has actually released a completely new badminton shoe model. We have typically been getting updated versions of their flagship models in the 65 series, the Era series, the Eclipsions, and the Comfort series. And now the Subaxia GTs are in a category of its own, a shoe that really delivers next generation cushioning and explosive drive. So let's get into it. At first glance, my first impression was that this shoe looked a lot like the Comfort Z2 women's black and pink colorway in terms of aesthetics, but that's about where the similarities end. The men's colorway that I have here is mostly black upper with some very dark gray materials throughout. It has some neon yellow on the midsole combined with hot pink at the heel, and in that pink heel area, there is a small peek-through window where you can see the white foamy material, which is Yonex's new Power Cushion Rev. Where the neon meets the pink, you can see the words Graphite Throttle spelled in Yonex's way. On the outside facing side of the shoe, you have the Yonex logo towards the back of the shoe, almost where the heel pull tab is. And on the inside facing, the logo is smaller and more centered. Now at the bottom of the shoes, we have the entirely black outsole with the radial blade pattern. From the bottom, if you look at the outsole, there are 2 areas where you can see the graphite sheet. Visually, it looks like the heel counter rises really high, but that is for a reason, which I'll talk about in the next section. It has a lot to do with the shock absorption and the energy transfer that these shoes are designed for. If we think about Yonex's current lineup of shoes, we know that the 65s are one of the best all-around shoes. Then we also have the Eras collection that really targets the lightweight category, and the Eclipsions, which are on the heavier end, but also great for stability. Excluding the Boa Dial shoes in this conversation, the Comfort Z3 was kind of the 4th category shoe of its own, and that was meant for comfort. Now we have these Subaxia GTs, and it looks like they are in a category of their own, targeting peak performance and max explosiveness. The highlight of this shoe obviously is the midsole. If you saw my review on the Graphite Throttle concept shoes, I explained that Graphite Throttle is basically Yonex's combination of a power graphite sheet slapped in with their new white foam material called Power Cushion Rev. From Yonex's lab testings of Power Cushion Rev, it outperforms the traditional Power Cushion Plus in all of the main categories: shock absorption, propulsion, and weight. This combination is what allows for what Yonex is calling a high energy return sole. Basically, the soles are supposed to transfer the energy that you give into the shoe right back into the explosive movements and ultimately into your shots. And you can see in the design of these shoes that the heel stack and thickness of the cushioning is so prominent. And onto the upper of the shoe, it has the seamless design using the durable skin light and the lateral shell, which is all of this reinforcement at the side area of the shoe, which is under the most pressure when we're making these sharp, explosive lateral movements. Even though most shoes actually are not completely flat, but have a tiny elevation called the heel to toe drop that you can't really feel. Any of you have worn weightlifting shoes, you know what I'm talking about in the more prominent heel elevation. In the case of these Subaxias, they have a more exaggerated heel to toe drop than normal shoes, but they serve a very different purpose than in weightlifting shoes, which are typically designed to increase your ankle dorsiflexion or mobility. These Subaxias have that elevated heel because of the maximum increased cushioning at the heel, which is usually your first point of contact when you're going out for a lunge. Now, I will admit, at first it felt a little bit funky because I'm so used to my Comfort Z3s. After a few sessions, it started to feel more and more normal. And then when I went back to my Comfort Z3s, I could really feel a huge difference in the cushioning. Aside from the cushioning, if I were to compare the Subaxia to any shoe, I would say they are kind of in between the Eclipsions and the Comfort Zs in terms of shape, weight, and overall construct. Putting them on the scale, they came in at around 330-ish grams, which is much closer to the Comfort Z3s and the Eclipsions, and a lot further away from the Airises or the 65s. With that being said, my main takeaway though is that these Subaxia GTs are definitely bouncier than any other Yonex shoe or any other badminton shoe that I've tried, especially in the heel area. Another thing I wanted to point out on these Subaxia GTs was they were amazing right out of the box. Oftentimes there's shoes that have a break-in period. For me, it's usually in the arch area that can be sore when I test out new shoes for the first time. But even the first few wears in these, no issues at all. Great grip right away, as expected from the radial blade outsole. And in terms of fit, I usually wear a US size 9.5 or 27.5 centimeters. And when I did first put on these shoes, they did feel a little bit snug. Almost felt like they were a half size too small, but as I started to break them in, they did loosen up and the 9.5 felt perfect for me. So personally, I didn't need to go up half a size or down a half a size. I stayed true to size on these. Bottom line, these shoes feel great. They really push the boundaries of performance, and especially for players that might be on the heavier end or are heavier heel strikers in their steps, I think you will want to try these. Now, I do want to point out though that with more and more cushioning, there's always certain concerns. Sometimes you have less of a feel for the ground and there can be less stability because your foot tends to overpronate or supinate. But so far, I haven't had any of these issues. They've been great for me so far and I will continue to be wearing them. Before we get into the options and pricing, just wanted to remind you guys that if you guys are looking for any badminton gear or the latest releases like this Subaxia GT shoe, make sure you check out the Rally Shop online, or if you're in Orange County, drop by my flagship retail store. You guys can often catch me there on weekdays with my team, and we obviously have a great partnership with Yonex, so make sure you guys check out the Rally Shop. In terms of options, there will be a men's, women's, and separate wide version for this shoe, which is great for a lot of you that are always looking for that wide fit. I have both the men's and women's colorway here with me. The men's colorway, as I've shown you earlier, is black, while the women's colorway is kind of a light gray. Here are some more close-ups of the women's colorway since I've been showing you more of the men's colorway on my feet, while the wide version, which I don't have with me today right now, is a darker gray as the base color. All three colors feature the same neon yellow and pink heel area. Men's and wide versions will go all the way up to a men's size 13 or 31 centimeters, which is pretty standard for all Yonex badminton shoes. So if you're larger than 13, then you're out of luck, but women's size will go from size 5.5 to 10.5 women's. And now for pricing, how much are these going to cost? Luckily, the Subaxia GTs will retail at about 155 USD, which is right in the midpoint between the Comfort Z3s at 160 and the Eclipsion Z3s at 150. So still higher than the flagship 65Zs, which we usually see in the $125 range, but actually not too bad. I was expecting these to be much more expensive than the Comfort Z3s, considering how much new technology is in them and considering the Graphite Throttle concept shoe retailed for over $200. Now, that's all that I have for you guys on these new Subaxia GTs. Shout out to my Yonex family for always making sure that I'm the first to test and review these new products for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed a first look at them. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that thumbs up for me. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.